Hi, in this video I want to talk a little bit about the sort of appropriate, thinking about the output line thickness for your intended drawing, size and the distance of the viewer. So let's say you're in a studio and your assessment requires an output, like an image, which is sort of A3 portrait. That's what happened to me this semester. A3 portrait, which is 420 mils tall, and you expect that the viewing distance of your assessor might be around 500. That's just a guess, right? And you've done all of your line thicknesses. You've spent a lot of time in Illustrator or whatnot trying to get exactly the line thicknesses that you want. This is the one that I worked on as part of our assessment, and you get the intention right because you got the thicknesses exactly as you want. And then your assessor then says, okay, well, actually we've changed it. We want to have an A1 portrait. So that's double the size. So you can see here, it's double a linear dimension. It's double the size in both axes, A3, A2, A1. So the A3 portrait becomes an A1 portrait. We just double the height by twice. So let's do that here. Press 2, scale by 2, and we're going to increase the viewing distance of our viewer by 500 millimeters to the right. There we go. Now the field of view is the same, and the sort of their comprehension of the image is the same, but the line thicknesses also have to scale up for it to have the same intention. So I'll give you this example here. Where am I? So let's just take this image because that's fine. So this is the original A3 size, and now I'm going to scale it up without scaling the strokes and effects. So I'm going to do it by 200%. Oh no, actually I'll just do it by 400% so I can exaggerate the effect. Thing to note here is the thickness of, say, for example, these thick lines here, they're important, and the thickness of the circles, and the thickness of the outlines around this noisy area down the bottom. So let's scale this up by 400. Just press OK. And now you can see it's done that. I'm just going to resize, so I get rid of that black thing, and you can see how it's wrong. The thickness of these lines is just like way too thin. It doesn't view right, even though I'm filling up the page. So essentially the thicknesses have to be scaled up as well, and like the thicknesses down here, wrong, thicknesses wrong, and especially these ones, they're all wrong. So you have to think about the output viewing size. And if your output viewing size changes from A3 to A1, you need to make sure that you are doing line weights appropriate for your A1 and the viewing distance. So that requires test prints. If you don't have a big printer of A1, all of that's really good. And if it's a final, like a master's thesis or something, you probably want to do a test print like that. But if you don't have an A1 printer, you can perhaps just do an A3 version of a portion, just to make sure that your line thicknesses appear as you want in that final output. So let's just do this again. So I'm going to scale strokes and effects this time. So that's the original A3 portrait. And now, when I zoom out, and that's the A1 portrait, it looks exactly the same. That's what you want. Yeah, I hope that this sort of gives you an idea of what you might be thinking about for your final studio output for your image, and to sort of hone in and refine your line thicknesses to give the viewer, the assessor, to convey your best intention to them. And that's, yeah, I've learned that just recently. Yeah. If you have any thoughts, please comment. Cheers. Thanks.